Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So I want to talk about the New York Knicks today because they're a team that I think is going to make a move around the NBA trade deadline this year. They're a team that I think has performed above expectation. I think we all did not expect the Knicks to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers last year in the playoffs. I certainly didn't. Julius Randle averaged 25 points per game last year, shot 45% from the field, 34% from three. Not exactly what you want out of him, but he played 70 plus games if I'm correct. I think Julius Randle played like 77 games last year, which is pretty impressive. He shot 75% from the free throw line, but Julius Randle averaged 25 and 10 last season. Then they signed Jalen Brunson and everything, and Jalen Brunson had a really good year for them. So they're a team that's maybe one piece away from being like a legitimate, maybe Eastern Conference Finals team, if they can add a decent wing to their team, or get themselves another like decent 24 point per game scorer. And not only that, but the Knicks also have a shit ton of draft assets for this year's upcoming draft. They have 7 picks in the 2024 draft this year. That's a lot of picks, okay? And they also have a bunch of really, really tradable contracts on their roster. They have young talent. They have Emmanuel Quickley. They have Mitchell Robinson, Quentin Grimes. They have a roster of they got like Jericho Sims. They have a roster of good players with tradable contracts and a shit ton of draft assets, right? So then we look at a team that I talked about in my last video, and that's the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the Los Angeles Clippers are a team that their only goal right now is to not be bag holding at the end of the season, okay? Because they're a team that they basically need to be a top 3 seed in the West by the trade deadline to not be sellers. And I think the odds of that happening, of them being a top 3 seed in the West by the trade deadline, are very, very unlikely. Even if they trade for James Harden, like there's always an adaptation period with trading for a guy like that. Not to mention that he's also an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. So you have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who have player options for next season, who are probably not going to pick up those player options because, they can, maybe Kawhi Leonard, not so much Paul George, but Kawhi Leonard can probably make more money going someplace else, and because he's 32 years old. Paul George is 33, but Paul George is still a solid player, and the Clippers are going nowhere fast. They're a team that has not done a good job at managing their assets. They've not done a good job of managing their contracts. And next season, they've only got 7 guys coming back that are guaranteed to come back. Those 7 guys are like Norman Powell, Russell Westbrook, Bones Highland, Ivanka Zubac, Terrence Mann, like Amir Coffey is the 6th one. Like, I don't remember who the 7th guy is, but I think you get my point. Like, that's not a very impressive roster. And if you're the Clippers, you don't own a draft pick until 2027. Like, not only are you going to be a bad team, like, if you don't play well this year, but you're not even going to have a fucking draft pick for next year, or for the next 4 years. So, if you're the Clippers, you need young talent and you need draft picks. And the Knicks have plenty of both. So, I actually came up with a trade that I think would benefit both teams very much. And really, you only got to tweak this trade by a draft pick or 2 if you want Kawhi Leonard. So the first trade I'm going to go over here is for Paul George. And that trade is the Knicks would get Paul George, and the Los Angeles Clippers would get themselves Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, a 2024 first-round pick via Detroit, and the 2024 second-rounder via Detroit that the Knicks own. So, if you're the Clippers, you would get RJ Barrett, who's 23 years old, and still, we haven't really seen what he's capable of as, like, the primary guy on a team, which the Clippers would then be able to make him the primary guy going into next season. And you get draft picks, which is what you really need. Okay? Like, yeah, you get Evan Fournier, who shoots 38% from three. He's 30 years old, got 2 years left on his deal. He's a good vet. Okay? You got him. But it's just the idea. The Clippers could then, like that Detroit first round pick is probably going to be in the top 10. And then that second round pick from Detroit is going to be very early in the second round because I don't think Detroit's going to be I don't think they're going to make a huge difference from last year because Cade Cunningham is playing. I think that second round pick is going to be relatively early in the second round. So that's not a bad haul. You know what I'm saying? That's not a bad haul for Paul George. You get a 23-year-old RJ Barrett where even in that case, it's like you could hand RJ Barrett the keys to your franchise, kind of like what the Pacers did with Tyrese Halliburton, and really see what you got. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, and honestly, the Clippers might even trade Norman Powell. Like if they're trading Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're probably just going to sell. Like, just straight up sell and trade Norman Powell as well, and maybe even Russell Westbrook. Who knows if they can trade them. But it's just the idea, at that point, if you're the Clippers, you can say, hey, RJ Barrett, like, let's see what you're really capable of. Because we've seen flashes. We've seen flashes where, in certain years where RJ Barrett has shot in 38% from three. Granted, he hasn't done it consistently, but, like, we know that, like, he's capable of it. And he's a guy where it's like, give him the keys to the franchise and let him have some freedom. You're not playing for anything at that point. So it's like you would be able to give RJ Barrett the keys to your franchise and say, hey, you know what? Go out there and shoot 25 shots a game. Go do what Mikal Bridges did. Go do what Tyrese Halliburton did. Put the ball in your fucking hands and go have fun. Fuck it, right? So there's that. Then, if you want Kawhi Leonard, all you got to do is tweak that trade by a draft pick or two, okay? And if you want Kawhi Leonard, I would say that the Clippers would have to get, if you're the Knicks and you want Kawhi Leonard, you got to send the Knicks RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, a 2024 first-round pick via Detroit, the 2024 second-rounder via Detroit, and the 2024 first-rounder via Washington, okay? Now, I think that's a solid return for Kawhi Leonard, okay? Because I'm just going to be honest, that's probably going to be the best offer you're going to get for Kawhi Leonard because not a lot of teams have that type of draft capital or assets to trade for a guy like Kawhi Leonard like that or Paul George like that. And on top of it, if you're the Knicks, okay, getting rid of all of those draft picks doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because you'll still have 3 or 4 draft picks left over in that 2024 draft where you can still draft guys to put more guys around whoever you trade for. So, and on top of it, you get to keep Emmanuel Quickley, right? You get to keep Mitchell Robinson. Like, you can use those draft picks, draft yourself another center. Go draft yourself another shooting guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many possibilities here that it's kind of ridiculous in a way. Because the Knicks could become a very, very good team very fast at the trade deadline if they decide they want to go all in on a guy like Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. And then, like I said, the Knicks would still have their own first-round pick. They own a first-round pick via Dallas. They own, I think, a first-round pick via Milwaukee that is top 4 protected as well. And they own a 2024 second round pick swap via Utah or Cleveland, depending on how they choose. So you still have a shit ton of draft picks left, even after trading all those draft picks that I just mentioned. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the idea. The Knicks have endless possibilities, and they're a team that by the trade deadline, I have a feeling like if the Clippers situation is not going well, they're going to land a guy like Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. And not for nothing, but the Knicks are a team that I still expect to perform well. Like I said, Julius Randle's averaging 25 and 10, and Jalen Brunson's out here averaging 24 points a game. If you can add Paul George to that or Kawhi Leonard to that, you just got one of the best two-way players in the game to put on your roster. Okay? Yes, I understand health is a concern, but it's just the idea. You can add a guy like that to your roster, and, the Knicks have not been a good defensive team, in recent years. They used to be. I don't know what happened to that because Tom Thibodeau is still their head coach, but it's just the idea, adding a guy like Kawhi or Paul George to that roster would not only increase their defensive rating, but it would increase their offensive rating as well. Like, they're a team, if they add Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, they're automatically better than the 76ers, right? They're a team that's going to compete with the Miami Heat. They're a team that's going to compete with the Cleveland Cavaliers after they already beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in a playoff series last year. They get, they'll get to keep Josh Hart. Like, they're a team that adding a guy like Kawhi or Paul George makes a lot of fucking sense for them. So, I don't know, man. And then on top of it, if you're the Clippers, you get RJ Barrett, you get the draft picks, you can draft whoever the fuck you want and start rebuilding what you had. Honestly, if you're the Clippers, at that point, you could maybe only trade one of them, right? If you're the Clippers at that point and the Knicks offer you a package like that for either of those guys, like the packages I mentioned, you could trade literally only one of them. Only one of them. And it would not be the end of the world for you at that point. Okay? Like, at that point, it's not the end of the world. Then, you know what? Okay, yeah, I'm getting RJ Barrett back, but I'm also getting some draft picks here. Like, I'll have some guys that, like, I can put on my roster and watch them grow and develop and select in the draft. I really, really honestly think it's great for both teams because those Detroit picks are huge that the Knicks own, and if they could send them to the Clippers with RJ Barrett to get a Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, both teams make out relatively well. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. Helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.